have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, you know, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium series was definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, you know, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 378 of Sports on the Hill podcast. It's a special episode. I'm wearing my jersey backwards for a very specific reason tonight. We're honoring the guy who's on the back of the jersey versus the front. You know, usually we all pull on a rope together, as they say. But I wanted to celebrate TJ Oshie. Today is the day that he announced his retirement. Exactly 7 years to the day after he was dancing in the fountains with the Stanley Cup, just a couple days after they won it on the 7th of June. And so today is the 9th, and this was one of their big celebration days. So I am rocking the Stars and Stripes custom OV, which I love to death. And you can see that it says Unleash. It's upside down backwards right now, but it's got the Wes Johnson Unleash on it too. And we're joined by Champ. How are you doing tonight, Champ?
I'm in a celebratory mood. I'm smoking a Oliva Inferno because the DC Defenders burned it down in St. Louis and are now in the UFL Championship.
I know. I'm so excited to talk about this. And we also have a live playoff game that we're watching too in hockey. Florida's up 2-0, but Edmonton, right at the very start of this period, it's literally the puck is about to drop in the second period. They're going to have a 2-minute power play. Hopefully they can try to come back. This is the period that we are rooting for the big comeback, because we were going to bring in some friends for hour 2 to talk about this game, but I'd like them to be in a better mood than down 2-0. Florida did win their last game in double overtime to tie the series 1-1. Edmonton won in an overtime thriller earlier in the week. So both games have gone to overtime, and we'll see how this game goes. Florida had not lost a game where they were up at the end of a period, like the whole entire playoffs, for the last couple of years, in fact, up until Edmonton was able to come back in their game in that game 1. So exciting series. We'll definitely break that down. But the big topic and the reason we have a podcast tonight is we bet the podcast on the DC Defenders, and the Defenders won. And so if people don't know, last week we recapped going to the Battlehawks game, and I thought the Defenders did a smart thing, resting a lot of their starters, and especially their key ones like their quarterback, and got themselves in a situation where they kind of lulled St. Louis to sleep a little bit, in the sense of that they did a lot of running it's interesting. Like they switched up their attack from game to game, but also I think they were used to the passing game in previous games, especially when they beat them in St. Louis. They thought they were going to go back to that model, but they stuck with the run game. And I thought that was very effective through, especially in the first half when they were setting a tone. So that was interesting. But the big story is our offense was able to move on their defense. St. Louis, people don't know this, had one of the best defenses in all of the UFL, especially the XFL conference. And I thought they were able to move the ball well. in that side, and also play some good defenses well. But Champ, what were some of your initial thoughts?
Well, first off, the defenders' defense struggled mightily throughout the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, giving up a lot of points, giving up a lot of yards, and really not looking like the same defenders' defense that had been made to look really dominant the last couple of years. But this game right here, they were able to keep in check one of the best rushing attacks in all of the UFL. They held them to, as a team, 22 rushes for 83 yards and 2 touchdown runs, as opposed to on the offensive side. One of the things that I preached on this podcast for several weeks for this offense is run the football, run the football, run the football. And finally, they were able to go out and rush for almost 200 yards as a team, 187 yards on 36 attempts, and 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 of them from Deion Jackson, who rushed for over 100 yards in this game. 21 times he rushed, 110 yards, and ran the ball in twice for a touchdown. Abram Smith also had 64 yards rushing. All of their rushing yards came from Smith and from Jackson for the most part, with all the touchdowns coming from those 2 guys. It was an absolute just old school football, running the ball. The defense was absolutely on point. 5 sacks they sacked the quarterback 5 times. They forced 2 fumbles, recovering one of them, and they also had an interception on this game as well. So the defense, this was the best that they have played in almost 2 months of action. Has his defense. So everything just worked for them. And then Jordan Theamu only completed 69.2% of his passes, 18 of 26, 204 yards. He did have a touchdown, but no turnovers. So that's the big thing, is he had no turnovers. So the fact that this team was able to play a complete game, both on the offensive side and the defensive side, not giving up the football and taking the football away twice, is a recipe for a 36-18 defeat and winning the conference championship. And now they have one more game to go, but I don't know how easy of a game this is going to be against a team that's not the Birmingham Stallions for the first time in God knows how long.
Right. It was it's interesting. This Michigan team is good though. We played them in Michigan earlier this year, and it was probably our worst loss, one of the worst losses of our season. But I like that we're playing in a neutral stadium, not only a neutral stadium, a stadium we've won twice at. It's kind of our home away from home. I think in some ways we might like that stadium more than our own, not because of the fans, but just because of the way that the turf is set up and the indoor, and it's we seem to play pretty well there. I really liked both games that I saw in St. Louis this season. And so that's good that we have that experience. We're the only team to win in that stadium other than St. Louis this year, and we did it twice. So I think that as a neutral stadium, that's exciting to me. And
good vibes.
Yeah,
Good
exactly. I'll take that. And it's interesting. A lot of the local St. Louis fans, I think, bet on the fact that they thought they were going to boat race us, and basically walk into the championship game. And I felt like they had one of their lowest attendances, because I think a lot of people decided, well, I bought tickets to the first game last year and they lost. Like, maybe I'll buy it for the second game this year and get to see them in the championship, since the championship would be there. But if anyone who saved their money on the first game and bought tickets to the second one now have to become Defenders fans. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I do want to announce that Edmonton was able to score. Corey Perry scored on the power play, unassisted. Corey Perry has played in so many playoff games. We talked about that last week, that he's played on more playoff games, Champ, than any team has since 2020. Because he's gone to the championship alone 3 different years in a row with 3 different teams, at one point in that streak. So, yeah, pretty incredible stuff. Cut it to 2-1, 140 into the second period right on that power play. But unfortunately, just a minute and 20 seconds later, Sam Reinhart scores with an assist from Carter Verhaeghe. And Verhaeghe got the power play goal. towards the end of the first period that gave them the 2-0 lead, and Marchand continued. He got the goal in double overtime in the last game, so basically the last goal of this series, and then immediately 1 minute into this next game scored again, which is pretty wild. And so that was his. Anyway, so it's been an interesting game so far. We'll see. It's still 15 minutes left in the second period, and it's already 4 goals. So we'll see how this game continues to go. But the Panthers seem to be playing well. So they have 3 goals on only 12 shots on goal. A lot going right for Florida early in this one. But yeah, great performance by the defenders. Just really proud of them, especially for a team where like your whole coaching staff like leaves you pretty early in the season, right before the season starts, and you've got a lot of people that were in roles where they were part of the team last year, but they weren't like the head coaches. So a lot of assistant coaches taking on big roles. And I've just really been impressed to see how the team has gelled over the year. And our quarterback, you can see why he's up for MVP of the league. He's been playing great. And just our defensive line and offensive line have both played phenomenal. But you're just really interested to see this Michigan team is really high powered, really scores a lot of points. What are your thoughts on them coming into this game?
Well, first off, it's crazy that it was a week before the season started that Reggie Barlow took the job at Tennessee State. And so Shannon Harris takes over the team. And then after game 1, Greg Williams leaves to go to college and coach college. And so you're thinking, oh, man, this is going to be one of those seasons. But Shannon Harris said a best during the post-game interview with Fox, and then during the trophy celebration, that Coach Barlow left a great base for this team. He left them in a great position with the team in order to be able to be successful. As you can see, a 6-4 record, and now an XFL conference championship and a trip to the UFL championship. But then when you look at this team, the Panthers, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting game, to say the very least. When we played them earlier on in the season, it was a struggle. 38-14 loss to them in Detroit at Ford Field. Teamu played pretty decently, only 19-36 for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the rushing was just not good. Only 75 yards as a team, while the Michigan Panthers rushed for over 200 yards, 213 to be exact, and had 3 rushing touchdowns, with Toa Tawa having 94 yards rushing and a touchdown on 19 carries. And he actually played well in the USFL Conference Championship game, having a couple touchdown runs against Birmingham. So he's going to definitely be the problem with Michigan is they have a bunch of weapons that you have to deal with, not just Tawa, but you also have to deal with Bryce Perkins at quarterback, who was 13-18 for 188 yards and 2 touchdown passes, but also at 76 yards rushing and a touchdown. So he's a dual threat at quarterback. So their defense is definitely going to have to really be on their game to deal with him and that running back if they're going to be successful. They don't want a repeat of what happened at Ford Field, getting boat raced like that. They're going to have to play a lot of contain with that quarterback to keep him from getting out of the pocket and making plays with his legs. They're going to have to play some really stout run defense and everything. And then on the offensive side of the ball, do what they were doing against St. Louis. Run that football. Deion Jackson and Abram Smith are 2 extremely talented running backs. You need to get those guys going early and really get them moving and really set it up so that Teamu can make the plays that he makes, like that 41-yard pass play he had to Williams to get the first score of the game. That was a beautiful dime that he threw to Williams, and Williams able to high point it and make the catch and hold on to it through contact to get the touchdown. If you set it up with the run, then the pass is going to open itself up, and you're going to have Teamu have a really, really solid day at quarterback. But they have to be able to, on defense, be able to contain the quarterback as well as contain Toa, and then they're going to have to be able to be able to be balanced on the offensive side of the ball if they're going to go and win this championship. This is their second league championship in 3 years. This is their chance to make, not have it be third time's the charm, make it second time's the charm, and they bring that championship home to DC, where I'm pretty sure, like, I would love to see a parade for the DC Defenders if they win the UFL championship this coming Saturday.
Yeah, so it's a good segue. They'll be on ABC Saturday at 8 p.m. It should be a very exciting game, national televised. We're technically the road team in that one. God, the Panthers are just firing all cylinders. They're now up 4-1. They scored at 1, 2, 3, 4 in this period, so they're just pouring it on here. Yeah, I'm just very, very excited about the Defenders and what they did. And it's interesting because there's talk of this head coach might still go and be the quarterback coach in college with Reggie Barlow and the rest of the staff. And I feel like Reggie Barlow was just like, I've set you up. You run my system for me while I'm setting up your system in college, and then you can just jump from one to the other, but I'm interested to see if he wins this next game. Would he stay and continue to be a head coach of this team, or would he want to be a quarterback's coach? So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully he wins, and then we can have that conversation next week. Again, we're going to bet next week's podcast on the same thing. If they somehow win the championship, we'll be back recapping it for sure. With that, I do want to bring Sith in to talk a little bit of wrestling. It was a big weekend. So there was Worlds Collide as well as Money in the Bank. But Seth, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing awesome. By the way, folks, Ballerina, which is in the John Wick universe, 3.75 out of 5.
Nice.
A lot of people have slept on this movie. It only did $25 million at the box office, but what people don't know about Lionsgate is they probably, with all the deals that they have, probably made back $90 million already off this movie. So it needs to do a lot to break even, if you will, but the movie is really, really good. So if you're a fan of John Wick, go see it. It's fun.
I have a question. What was your rating for Mission Impossible?
3.75 out of 5.
The
same thing that I gave number 2 and number 3 when I did a ranking back when we were on Blog Talk Radio many moons ago. Black GOP had asked me to do a quick fire ranking one night of all 6 movies at the time. And I said number 2, number 3 are my least favorite in the franchise, but they're still really, really good movies. 3.75 out of 5. And that's where the Final Reckoning landed for me.
Right. So this is the 8th one now? Is that right?
This is the 8th. Tom Cruise says it's the last one that he's going to be in.
Right. I think but it doesn't mean it's the last one that they're going to make. I feel like he might.
You could easily do more movies, give a couple of years for this to sit, then bring in more people from the IMF team or start anew with another team and just slowly work your way through.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I'd be excited to do it. This was I saw it today, a very good way to wrap that up as a series. So I highly recommend it if you're a fan of the Mission Impossible series. But let's get into, let's start off because it's a long day. You guys did a double stream on over there on the No Spots podcast, which is part of our True Radio network. And so, Sith, talk about the first live that you were a part of and your thoughts about bringing in this other wrestling company now to showcase some of that talent to people who follow WWE.
First thing that I like that WWE did with Worlds Collide is, unlike other companies that come in and they like to act like you know it all already. So instead what they do is they brought in Rey Mysterio to narrate some of the history of AAA Lucha Libre. You had other callbacks as well in the history laurels of AAA Lucha Libre, including the first Worlds Collide card back in 1993, if I'm not mistaken. I thought they did that very, very well. It's one thing that irritates me about the McMahon administration, how Tony Khan sometimes does things in AEW as well with newer wrestlers that you're being presented for the first time. Um, they don't like telling you they assume you know where these people came from. So it was good to have Conan on commentary, you know, along with everyone else that was building out. And Corey Graves did a phenomenal job on commentary as well. Matter of fact, he's gotten a lot of rave reviews, reportedly, according to Fightful Select, on the job that he did with Worlds Collide with Conan. Overall, I'm leaning at a B plus overall for the show. It was awesome to watch. All the matches were really well done. They were all very fluid. And it's about what you would want from I'd say about a 2.5 hour card, which bled right into Countdown, which led into Money in the Bank. I think that a big attraction from it is Mr. Iguana, who I was like, who is this guy? And Hector's telling us who this guy is. And the way he was moving in his character, I was just like, this guy's awesome. Is there any way we can get Mr. Iguana to show up at like NXT at some point? Maybe, and now people are talking about him possibly showing up where it comes to NXT and maybe even up and even selling more of his merch with WWE shops. So you've got that going on. I thought that the main event with El Viking, El Vikingo, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Chad Gable was a really well worked match. And I thought that those two had a really good mesh of Chad Gable doing amateur wrestling and Vikingo doing, the lucha libre style.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can combine techniques like that, and the chemistry is really good, you can put on good matches. And a lot of these matches didn't have necessary builds, and you didn't have to do any homework watch this show. So if you're worried about, Sith, do I have any homework to watch Worlds Collide? Not really, because with the story being told in the ring as well as commentary, fits like a glove.
That's really cool. I love the idea. Maybe even you could throw TNA in there, and there's so many different combinations you can now throw out there, and people could show up anywhere, anytime. And I think that adds some levels of excitement to all the different brands. Champ, what were some of your thoughts on this event?
I really enjoyed it because we don't get the chance to really experience lucha libre like that. New Japan does Fantastica Mania once or twice a year in Japan or in Mexico or wherever, and so we get that experience. And then, of course, AEW has a relationship with CMLL as well, and so they bring in some of their luchadors in as well and stuff like that. So we get some exposure to it, but we don't get a lot of it. So having this chance to get this exposure to lucha libre at this bigger stage is really, really cool. And this is a really fun event. El Hijo del Vikingo and Chad Gable absolutely tore the house down in the main event for the Mega Championship. It was absolutely a fun matchup. The 6-man with Mr. Iguana and all. I mean, Mr. Iguana, I looked at it. I was like, I really like this guy. This guy is really funny and really entertaining and can wrestle. I mean, you can't find too many wrestlers in the professional wrestling ring, in the professional wrestling industry, that can not only have an entertaining character, but also can wrestle as well. It's very few and far between. They either have one or the other. You rarely find someone that has both. And he has both. And it was really fun to watch. And so really enjoyed that one. Legado del Fantasma. I thought they were going to lose because they were starting to be on the verge of a breakup, but then they turn around and win. Stephanie Becerra. I got to give a shout out to Stephanie Becerra. This young lady right here wrestled 3 times in the span of 24 hours, including twice on Saturday. She wrestled in a multi-woman match on SmackDown. Then she wrestled in a tag match with Lola Vice against Chick Tormenta and Dallas on Worlds Collide. And then a couple hours later, she was in the opener in the women's Money in the Bank matchup, which Naomi won. But just unbelievable for Stephanie Vaquer to wrestle 3 times in the span of 24 hours. I know her body was hurting her, but she showed the dedication and the passion to be able to do it and do it well. But Worlds Collide was a great success. I hope we get to see this again, even if it's this year or next year. I would love to see this again so that we can get another opportunity to see the luchadors of AAA mesh with the WWE superstars and put on such a really great show. And I love the fact that they had Lillian Garcia as the ring announcer because of the fact that she's fluent in both English and Spanish. So she was able to do the ring announcements in Spanish to give that feel like they were in Arena Mexico for a AAA show. So that's what I really like. Everything about this, the presentation, everything was just absolutely on point. They need to do it again. This should not be a one-off. This should be done again. This should be done yearly as long as this they have a AAA underneath their umbrella, honestly.
Yeah, I was thinking this could be a nice lead into a lot of future shows. Like, so that way it's not always like NXT into a show, but like you can, have different shows lead into it. I mean, heck, you could even at some point maybe even do like a TNA lead into a show. So they could swap it up, mix it up, and put a couple of different sort of style cards together. It's been a while since they had one of these though, so I hope that you're right and that they don't. I think twice a year could make a lot of sense. You don't want to do it too much. I think then it would lose some of its luster, but I think that having it maybe twice a year could be really cool for both brands. And so yeah, that's very exciting. And also big shout out to Chad Gable for all of the work that he put in over the same 24-hour period. Helping to lead up to the show. Then he wrestled twice, even if one is under a different moniker. But he still put together 2 really good programs there, and both of them not easy. Both of them a lot of spotlight, and it really shows how talented he is. I think that they've been showcasing how multifaceted he is over the last year or two, and I think that that's been really exciting to see. But Champ, what were some of your thoughts on Money in the Bank?
Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to Sith and Hector for the live reactions to Worlds Collide. It was great to have Hector on there with his knowledge of AAA. And then big shout out to Sage joining me for the live reactions to Money in the Bank. It was on Twitch, Kick, and on Facebook. Money in the Bank was fun as well, especially because at first they went in with only 4 matches, but then during Worlds Collide, 1 more match was added to the card, which was Dom Mysterio defending the Intercontinental Championship against Octagon Jr., which turned out to be a really good matchup as well. Every match on the card was good in its own way, including the main event, which saw the fans fight, once again influencing a creative decision in WWE since Triple H has taken over as the man in charge of creative, with R-Truth returning to the fold just days after he announced on social media his contract was not being renewed, and it led to a groundswell of support with We Want True Chance taking over Raw and SmackDown. And boom, they listened. If this was Vince McMahon's era, he wouldn't have gave a damn about what they were saying. Truth would still be waiting, be a free agent right now. But no, they listened, they heard the fans, and they brought him back. As a matter of fact, he cut a promo tonight where he's officially no longer R-Truth. He is going by his real name of Ron the Truth Killings. So that's exciting stuff right there. But the Money in the Bank matches, the women set the bar really, really high with that women's Money in the Bank match. Those 6 women went out there and they absolutely killed it. And with Naomi coming out of nowhere and winning it, that leads to a very unpredictable situation for both Io Sky, the women's world champion, and Tiffany Stratton, the WWE Women's Champion, because they have a very unpredictable young lady in Naomi who now holds the briefcase and can cash in at any time she wants until June of next year. And so it's going to be really interesting to see when she'll cash in and who she'll cash in on and whatnot. But that's very unpredictable. Seth was kind of predictable, at least for me, because of the way that he's being built up, trying to, have this power trip on Raw, and now he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. and he's been beefing with Jey Uso, so it only makes sense that he most likely will come after Jey Uso. Though it wouldn't, it would make a lot more sense if he went after Cena as well to kind of turn Cena back face towards the tail end of his retirement run and whatnot. So either way they go with Seth Rollins would most likely work out very, very well. And then you had Becky Lynch winning yet another championship in what has proven to be a Hall of Fame resume for the man. Now adding that championship to a whole list of championships she's won in her WWE career. And just everything, this show was just very, very well done. I'm happy that I was able to watch it and with Sage and with everybody that watched on Twitch. Fun show, and now they push forward to Night of Champions, which is going to have the King and Queen of the Ring finals there. It looks like they're going to have a WWE Championship match there, possibly John Cena defending against another one of his greatest rivals in his career, CM Punk. After Punk came out and challenged him at the start of tonight's episode of Raw, that looks like that's going to be a thing happening. So wrestling is really starting to gain momentum here, and Money in the Bank definitely helped to keep that momentum going.
Yeah. Has the main event happened on Raw yet, or is it?
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
We're about to see Nikki Bella come out and do a promo segment.
Got
She's
it.
from because they're in Arizona. And she's from Arizona.
Got it. Yeah, so I do like that this is one of those things where Raw can go longer or shorter. Like I feel like tonight is like they're drawing it out after the Money in the Bank a little bit more because I feel like by now usually the main event had already started at 9:30. So it's cool that with Netflix that I feel like it's more it changes a little bit week to week. It's a little more unpredictable, but yeah, I just pulled it up on a second screen. I have a lot of screens open, but because I want to see, because there's a big talk about whether or not the cash-in is going to happen tonight. Whether or not, because isn't that what DJ thought, Champ, in our group chat?
Yes. DJ had a great. So Sith, I didn't tell you this, but DJ in our other group chat had this booking idea that Jey Uso defeats Walter tonight to retain the world title, and then Seth cashes in tonight and beats Jey to become the champion. That's their way to get the title off of Jey, but not hurt Jey's momentum, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And I would not be mad if they did do that, honestly. What did you think about that?
I love this idea. It's something that I brought up in the chat Saturday night. And by the way, shout out to Champ and Sith for doing live reactions Saturday night. It was a blast to be in the chat, watch Money in the Bank, hang out with the guys, and just have fun and cut it up.
I had so much fun doing it too. You guys had a great chat going on that night, so it was a lot of fun.
But I thought of the idea also of Seth cashing in on a vulnerable Jey at the end of the main event, succeeding, and we run with Seth as champion until probably WrestleMania next year, because this character of Seth Rollins is on a power trip. The last time we saw Seth on this type of a power trip where he was doing it for himself or his stable, I'd have to go back to the Authority. I have to go back to that 2015, 2014, 15, 16, where when he was champion, there was a couple of nights where they'd have a recliner in the ring. And Seth would be in there with the world championship on him. He's in the recliner chilling and just talking shit, cutting his promos and whatnot. We need that Seth Rollins back. The one that is the cool heel that you want to hate. And we're slowly getting to that. So a good way to do it is to have him cash in tonight at the end of the main event and beat Jey Uso, who's on an all-time high right now.
Yeah,
goes back to one of my favorite booking theories.
By the way, Sid, I don't mean to interrupt you, but they announced on Raw that next week there's going to be another 4-way first round match for the Queen of the Ring, and guess who's returning?
Stop.
Asuka's returning after being out for over a year with injury. She's returning and is in the Fatal 4-Way. I can't wait to see Asuka. I've missed Asuka. I've missed Asuka so badly. I can't wait to see her back. But go ahead, my bad. I just had to bring that up.
Yeah, you're cool. I saw that too, and that was actually spoiled by Fightful on Twitter because they put out the brackets, and with the brackets for Queen of the Ring and Asuka's right there. And I'm like, son of a bitch, she's back. Thank God. So back to Money in the Bank. I might get a little bit of heat for saying this. In the Paul Levesque era of running creative, this was the best Money in the Bank so far. Okay, the women killed it out there. I mean, they set the standard for the entire night, not just the men's match, but the entire night, because they just went out there, killed it, they slayed. You get to Dom Octagon Jr., okay, the match was fine for what it was. You know, for a match that was just something off of 5 hours ago, it was a good match. Becky Vera, it was really good. Okay. The ending, this was a WWE botch where it came to the camera angle. You didn't see it, but Becky had a fistful of the ring attire to keep Lyra from breaking the pin. But they didn't show that until it came out, and Cole had to say, "Oh, it looks like she grabbed the tights. It looks like she grabbed the tights." As Liv Morgan's trying to run down Nikki Bella. Oh, good luck with that. Then you get to the men's Rumble match. I mean, the men's Money in the Bank, and that was insanity, which was a lot of fun. Then you get to the main event, which I predicted because I knew that I wanted to have Cena vulnerable to have a Cody Cena rematch at some point. And the ending to that match started the firestorm of, oh my God, were we worth? And I was like, no. Because it goes back to something Sean Ross Sapp has said time and again, and Champ will probably agree with me. The last thing you want to do is work the people in the locker room on a contract. You do that, you run the risk of really putting a poison pill into the locker room where it comes to management and talent, and you cannot afford to do that. This reminds me a lot of Alexa Bliss returning earlier this year, and in 2023, Punk's return, where things just came out very quickly and they arrived. What happened was the announcement from Truth was legit. His contract did expire. It was due to expire, and he was exploring options. And according to PW Insider, as well as Fightful Select, it was Nick Khan who got the deal done to get Ron the Truth Killings, back for one final run in WWE.
Yeah. I'm so happy that they reversed course on this because I was really bummed. He's one of my favorites, and it was just starting to gain traction too with the Cena thing. And I think gotta give Cena some credit 'cause I feel like if that wasn't the storyline and he didn't want to work with him in that sort of way, we may not have gotten to keep R-Truth or Ron Killings, so. Just really interesting storylines, and they just keep adding layers to it, which is pretty amazing. And yeah, if people wonder what we're reacting to is live on Raw right now.
Well, it's clear that Nikki's cleared to compete, that she took an Oblivion. I think she's about to get her sister go out to the tag titles. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. It was I'll be interested to see. It was a good lead up. I like that. It's a good start to a story. I love Liv Morgan, so anything to get more Liv Morgan on the screen. So All right, with that, Florida's on the power play. Cross-checking. 44 seconds left in the second period. It's not looking good for Edmonton, but we do
I
have
will
eight.
do a TikTok
Yeah.
if Edmonton wins the cup, and I will congratulate them. No bullshit.
Yeah. We're rooting for Edmonton to have a comeback. I don't think this is going to be the game, but we can
No,
we'll
probably
hope
not.
for a better third period. And welcome on in. But Seth, thank you so much for the awesome breakdown of a really fun weekend, and it was fun hanging out with you in chat over there on the No Spots podcast page. But let people know what's happening in the basement this week.
The basement yesterday. Champ and Robbie know I'm an old school Star Trek fan. Huge. Spock here's here, folks. The top 35 episodes of the original series and Next Gen. My top 35 of those two shows are right now on Spotify. And then this coming Sunday at 5 p.m., the top 45 underrated 80s movies, which has got a wide variety. You'll have a little bit of horror in there. A little bit of a foreign language film is in there too from 1982 that is really, really good. That I saw when I was like 18. It was really, really good and emotional. So you've got that this Sunday. And fingers crossed, God, football gods, please let the Defenders win Saturday night. Please, please, please. I feel like Bobby, I feel like Ricky Bobby, with that name,
It was so great for us to win this. I know that they're not like talked about in the same way with reverence, in the city, but what a cool story if they are able to pull this off. And I hope that they get celebrated. And it was so awesome to go with Champ to the game last week. And but Seth, thank you so much for helping us break everything down tonight. And we'll definitely talk to you soon.
I will talk to you guys soon. Be good, everyone. Have a good night.
Sounds Seth.
All right.
Bye,
So, Adrian, we will get into hockey in just a second.
No, take your time, please.
But-
Take your time. I am in no rush to address this. Yeah, so go ahead, talk about literally anything.
We're going to talk about a really bad abomination before yours. It'll make this one look really good. And Champ, I think, knows where I'm going with this.
Fucking hell.
So we have a soccer team, which is called football in other sports, in other parts of the world. But
True.
yeah, we've got a soccer team that was the whole reason why we couldn't even play this football game at home. And boy, was it not worth it for them to play this game. But Champ, let people know about what happened in this DC United game.
DC United got absolutely boat raced, dog walk, anything you can use to describe how much they got their asses handed to them. It's every adjective in the book. They lost to the Chicago Fire 7-1. Now, in soccer, usually you have like 1-0, 2-1, 1-1 tie. This 7-1. They only put up one goal while their goalkeeper let through 7.
Yeah.
The only goal scored by DC United was Dominic Badji in the 60th minute in the second half. By then, Chicago got goals from Marion Halley Salisi in the 8th minute. So right off the start of the game, boom, goal, 1-0. Then in the 23rd minute, Jonathan Bamba scores 2-0 Chicago. Then in the 30th minute, Tom Barlow scores. So they're already down 3-0. And by the way, Tom Barlow had a hat trick because then he scores 14 minutes later in the 44th minute, right before half, to make it 4-0. And then DC finally scores in the 60th minute to make it 4-1. But then 5 minutes later, Barlow gets the hat trick in the 65th minute. And then Philip Zinkernaghi in the 56th minute. So before even Barlow got that goal, and before they DC even got the goal in the 60th minute, boom, they were already down 5-0. Then they got 5-1. And then to add insult to injury, Brian Gutierrez scores their 7th goal 1 minute into extra time at the end of the game. 7-1. DC, both teams had 15 shots in this game. DC only had 3 on target. Chicago had an amazing 11 on target, which led to their 7 goals. DC had most of the possession in this game, 58% to Chicago's 42%, but where it counted the most was the offense, and DC had very little of it, while Chicago had all of it. So people left Audi Field very, very salty for this one. And unfortunately, they fell 7-1 to Chicago, which is not doing them any favors. Even though it's still early in the season, they are still well behind in the Eastern Conference table. What an embarrassing loss. DC Defenders had to go to St. Louis for that. That's what happened. They were supposed to be home for that XFL championship game, but no, they had to go to St. Louis because DC had to, the United had to go and get embarrassed on their own home pitch.
I think in some ways it worked out better for us because we knew we couldn't be the home team, so we got to rest our players in that crazy Storm game. So like in some ways, I think like it worked out. Like I'm happy that we won the game that mattered, even if we like don't get to play at home. But yeah, it's definitely a bummer for sure. DC United falls to 4-6-8 in their standings, which is not great. They play their next game at 9:30 on Saturday, so same night as DC Defenders play. Both will be on the road in that one. So Real Salt Lake for that game. But yeah, hopefully they'll do a little bit better. So let's talk. We'll switch gears. Well, actually, Champ, do you want us to quickly go through the last ones and we can let you go, or do you want to stay around? What's your?
I mean, I can go through the other ones really quickly and then get out of you guys' way for the hockey because I'm sure like Adrian's got a lot of ranting and raving to do this game. I'm sure of it. So I would much rather get out of his way.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a big enough dude. I'm a big dude, but he's bigger than me. I don't want to get in his way. You know.
No. You're the champ, dude. I would never get in your way.
I'm just saying, you know.
I'll roll the red carpet for you, man. You're the champ.
I've complained during the hockey season that I don't get enough time. Now I'm trying to give back time. I'm trying to be the charitable one here. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. You turned face from your heel persona.
That's right. The people love me, so I'm going to embrace it.
There you go. All right, so let people know how the Nationals did, and then we'll let you get out of here.
Nationals went 2-4 this week. They lost 2-3 to sorry, I've got to switch over my notes here. They lost 2-3 to Chicago, 8-3 and 7-1. Though they did win Game 2 of the series, which Mackenzie Gore pitched a very, very good game. 7 innings. 7 strikeouts, walked 1, gave up 3 hits, but no runs. They had 2 other pitches to combine on the shutout, but Matthew Boyd on the Chicago side pitched pitched just as good. Took a perfect game into the 6th inning before he gave up a walk and then gave up a hit. So he lost both the perfect game and no bid in the 6th inning. He ended up going 7, but Washington was able to get 2 across on him and ended up winning 2-0. I would know because I was driving Lyft and listening to the game, and I actually took a couple Cubs fans to the game when it started, and I was listening to it the rest of the way. But this was a really that was the best game of that series, was that 2-0 win over Chicago, and then they lost 2-3 to Texas. They won the first game in the series 2-0, but then lost the next 2, 5-0 and then 4-2. The notable in here was that Michael Sorka in Game 1 went 6 innings, gave up only 2 hits and no earned. He also struck out 7 and walked 1 to give them the victory, but they weren't able to sustain it throughout the series. So next up, they head up to New York to face Juan Soto and the Mets for a 3-game series at Citibank Field, and then they come back home for a weekend series against the Marlins. So they have that going for them. Hopefully they can use these next 6 games to try to gain some ground in the NL East because it's 2 NL East teams. But they'll have to really work it out in terms of the offense and the pitching if they're going to gain some ground in the NL East.
Real quickly, I want to just switch gears because I like to mention the Orioles as well. Our friend Tim actually got to go to the game in Seattle this past Tuesday. He was visiting family out there, and they won that game 5-1. There was also dogs in the park, so there was like a lot of dogs that he got out with at the baseball game.
Oh, that's
And,
awesome.
and the Orioles were actually able to sweep Seattle in their series and win all three of the games in Seattle. Then they went to the Athletics. They unfortunately lost two out of the three there. And then they start a series with Detroit on Tuesday tomorrow, and then that one will be back in Baltimore Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all at 6:35, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, another series at home in Baltimore against the LA Angels coming up. So that is the report from that. All right, Champ, give a little shout out to what you guys are going to be talking about on the No Spots podcast, and then I'll let you get out of here. Or wait, we have Mystics.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, can't forget about the Mystics now.
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry. We have so many sports this time of year. It's hard to keep track. All right, let's go. Let's go Mystics, and then I'll let you give your sign out.
So the Mystics trying to end the unbeaten start for the New York Liberty, unable to do so, lost 86-78. Brittany Sykes, who's been the leading scorer for the Mystics through the first part of the season, very, very poor showing here. Only 7 points in 32 minutes. Was shot 2 of 9 from the field, did Brittany Sykes. But Sonia Citron and Kiki Irfin were able to pick up the slack. Kiki had 17 points and 9 rebounds. Sonia had 13 points and 5 rebounds. Jade Melbourne off the bench had 15 points for the Mystics. Brianna Stewart led all scorers for the Liberty with a double-double, 26 points and 11 rebounds in the victory for the Liberty. But then Washington was able to bounce back in a big way against the Connecticut Sun, a 104-67 drubbing of Connecticut. Sykes with a big bounce back, 7 points against the Liberty, 28 against Connecticut, including 6 of 12 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point land for Brittany. Irfan and Citron combined for 23 points, 8 rebounds and 6 assists. Kiki had 12 points. Sonia had 11. They had a total of 6 players in double figures in the win here, including 2 players who scored double figures off the bench for the Mystics. Tina Charles led the Connecticut Sun in scoring and had 17 points and was 1 rebound short of a double-double. She had 9 boards and 1 assist. She shot 7 of 17 from the field. So Washington was able to get a bounce back to finish their week 1-1. Their next game is not until the 15th. They will face the Atlanta Dream in that one. So hopefully they're able to continue the momentum and be able to get another bounce back win, another victory on their season. So, but a good way to bounce back after losing to the unbeaten Liberty by drubbing Connecticut, and Sykes able to bounce back, continues to be the leading scorer on this team, and hopefully they can continue it against Atlanta come the 15th.
Yeah, exciting time for your DC sports teams. Hopefully we can get it going for the Mystics again. They definitely have potential with that team. You're starting to see it come together at times, but they're not able to get over the hump at other times. So it's been a little bit of an up and down season for them so far. But it'll be interesting to see how they do going forward, and hopefully they can start to get their footing. And it's funny, Thomas Bertram on Facebook would say, please don't bring up the Yankees. They lost 2 out of 3 to Boston. So I won't bring that up.
Boo freaking who? Boo freaking who?
I know, exactly.
Shit.
It's
Damn,
funny.
I just turned heel again. Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's hard because my son's best friend is a Yankees fan. And so is my dad because he's from New York, and so it's like they kill me with that, but it is what it is. But all right, well, Champ, your shout outs for the No Spots podcast. What are you guys talking about this week?
Right. So this coming week on the podcast, we'll be recording back on Sunday. We're going to be recapping Worlds Collide. We're going to be recapping Money in the Bank. And we may be also recapping Against All Odds from TNA. They had that coming up this past Friday night for them. So that was a really good show as well. We'll be talking about that. We're also going to be looking at all the fallout from those 3 events on the week in review. So we're going to have all that plus whatever news that pops up this week, including what led up to R-Truth returning to WWE at Money in the Bank and being back as Ron Killings instead of R-Truth. All of that this coming Sunday. We begin the stream at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and on Kick at True No Spots Pod. Make sure you join us for that.
Thank you, Champ. I really had such a great time with you guys this weekend. Great broadcast, great community got going over there. Definitely people should check out the No Spots podcast, and I'll do the Champ command again so people can find it. But yeah, True No Spots Pod on Twitch, Kick, also on Facebook as well. And yeah, they do a great job over there. So shout outs to them and our friends over at the True Radio Network. And it's great to have Sith back on as well. So if you want more of both of them, go check that out.
Absolutely. Go Defenders. Let's bring home the championship. Go Kigenyo. Sayonara.
Yeah, hopefully if the Defenders win one more game, Champ and I will be back and do a second bonus podcast. So hopefully they'll be able to pull that off. And with that, we're going to switch over. We're going to talk a little bit of hockey. It's been a very close series up until this game. It was been back and forth. I thought that the play in the first game was really good by Edmonton, showing a lot of resolve. The second game was so close, and I hate that the Rat won it for them. And then this a bit of a carryover effect here from that game, I think. But who knows? There's still a period left of hockey. Anything can happen. Adrian, what are some of your thoughts on this series so far?
Well, I gotta say, game 1 was just fantastic. What I liked about it was, like going into overtime, it's always a nervous wreck. Like I told everyone, and I was not even joking. I literally watched the entire overtime through my fingers, like this. Like it was like so hard for me to watch. I was nervous the whole time, and it was just basically a battle of who could ice the puck the least, and eventually Florida blinked, and they did one of the penalties you can't really ignore. Like refs, like when it comes to overtime in like the playoffs, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals, like I noticed that a lot of refs let a lot of like calls go unnoticed. But you can't ignore a delay of game from dumping the puck over the glass into the crowd. Like you can't ignore that. So they had to call the penalty, and with roughly half a minute left in overtime, Perry did that like sneaky pass to McDavid, who passed it to Draisaitl, and got it in game 1, which was awesome. Game 2. I liked how Corey Perry was able to tie the game with just a few moments left on the clock, and that was awesome. It was just a shame that we lost it in the second overtime, but the way I looked at it was that I did feel like Edmonton was going to just get defeated in regulation in game 2. So the fact that we got to overtime, let alone a second overtime, was a remarkable feat. This game that I couldn't stand to watch anymore, like I'm like, you know what? Robbie's about to have me on as a guest. I better stop watching the game. I also had to watch the whole thing on mute because I can't stand the angry fans like away games, especially in the finals and the playoffs and stuff. That helped a lot. And like the Panthers like growling like the cat, like oh no man, like I can't deal with that too much. So I had to watch the game on mute. I'm like really, really, really trying my hardest to not hate Sam Bennett with every fiber of my being, but I can manage. there's cool people like Ryan who are like fans of the Hurricanes, and I'm like, okay, at least he was happy. Like right now we're in the heat of everything. I'm like, like I don't care. Like they won it last year, and yeah, like what we're missing this game is grit. And then it's like, yeah, guys, be tough, and then Evander Kane draws like so many penalties, and I'm like, no, not like that. Like that's the wrong kind of grit. Yeah, I liked how Perry got another goal, but then Florida answered with a goal right after that, and then another one after that. Whenever my games are in a lot of despair and I don't like the way it's going, and this goes for the Capitals too, I like to go to the fan subreddits and like look at the comment section of the live game feed, and my God, they were like furious at so many things, but like the two things they were specifically targeting were the refs, because that fourth goal that Florida got, like the ref barely made an effort to get out of the way and was basically acting as like a pick, and it's like, dude, get out of the way, man. Like so like a lot of people are thinking like, I bet like since it's in Florida they probably have connections to like some sort of like money laundering business, and they're in it to like help Florida win. Like I don't know about like all of that, but like it's just depressing to see Edmonton do such a strong performance in game one and a great one in game two. They just let that breakaway with Marchand decide the fate of that one. But then now it's come to this, and I know Edmonton is like really good at making a comeback. But I feel like this game is kind of a wash. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, try again in game four. I think they should actually put Calvin Pickard in the net for game four, because he was actually really good against Vegas, and maybe Stuart Skinner could use a break. But yeah, like I've noticed that they one of the things that made me so angry the other day, like I yelled so loud that my wife had to come downstairs and be like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose when the team that is playing against your beloved team are acting like a bunch of a-holes, and they keep getting away with so much stuff. Like, yeah, sure, maybe I'm biased, but I'm also like, like, how many games has it been now where Sam Bennett accidentally trips and falls on Stuart Skinner? Like, do not give that dude a stack of pizzas. Do not make him work at a pancake house. Do not give him anything where he can like comically like drop like a juggling act or something. Like, do not let him do that. So I'm just like, how many times? And like I'm trying to not just dismiss the whole NHL as a joke, because it's like you keep saying you're all about player safety, and yet this guy who's got a reputation for, oops, I fell into the goalie. Who could have seen this coming? Like, how many times are you gonna let them get away with it, man? Like, come on. Like, if you're gonna,
I think he's done it in every round. He
legitimately don't do it from drawing BS penalties. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he did that play into a goalie almost every round in this.
Yeah.
Crazy when you think about it. Like, that's wild. Because I've seen it against so many different jerseys.
It's infuriating.
It is. I definitely hope that they're able to find a way here to come back. Gil, I want to get some of your thoughts. In this series so far. What are you thinking?
Well, as far as this game goes, it's kind of appropriate that you introed the segment with a little bit of hockey, because thanks to all the penalty calling, we've seen a little bit of hockey and very much reffing. Good God.
Yeah.
It's like you guys choose now to do your jobs? Really? First 3 rounds, you let everything go?
Yeah.
You're a defense attorney's dream with letting all this criminal activity go, and now you decide to do your jobs? Really?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
There were so many calls in the game too. I was looking at it over on the box score. I was like, holy shit, how many penalties were called? In one period, there was like 11 or something. I was like, what is this? It's more than a lot of games get, so it's pretty wild, for sure. In fact, I think another one's about to be called right now.
Yep.
This is the second one of this period. All
Well,
right.
Adrian, you mentioned food service. I think Stuart Skinner may want to avoid that too because wow, he flipped the pancake really, really, really high.
Yes.
Must have been 20, 30 rows. Wow. The worst, like you said, the worst dish you could probably serve it, especially in overtime in the playoffs. Puck over glass. Yeah.
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 Just finished the
So
power play.
Panthers are back on the power play again.
Right. But that's like one that you have to call. Like that's
Well,
not,
yeah.
it's like so obvious. Not doing them any favors though. Yeah, if Skinner allows one more, I almost feel like you flip goalies just to get the other guy a chance and see how he does for the rest of this game to decide whether you want to play him in the next one. But we'll see if they can kill this power play here. But it definitely does not help when you're trying to get an early goal to get it to 4-2. And
Well, okay, so I don't know if you guys saw it just now, but Verhaeghe had a clear shot, and it Wallman. Well, you talk about a sacrifice. He took one in the old gonads just now. So
oh no, I think you're ahead of me.
thank God for a different kind of cup.
Feel the thrill is at it again.
Yeah. Well, how much time is left in yours? I feel like you might be.
Jeez.
Oh yeah.
I
Definitely.
stopped watching the game.
Spoiler alert, you're not going to like
what
you're not going to like what's going to happen in about 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I'm just like, nah, I'm abandoning ship. I'll wait until game 4.
Yeah, I don't blame you. This one's a lost cause.
I don't want. I need to get my blood pressure under control, and like game is not helping, and yeah. So,
well, let's talk about.
I'll spare you the description, but basically, yeah, Ekblad just scored on the power play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm so far behind because I just saw the time. So my own bot would have spoiled it for me. I'm like 30 seconds behind the bot. So that's not good.
Bots from the future.
Bot of the future, right?
Yeah,
Which is kind of what Mission Impossible was kind of about. If you,
the one you saw today with Benson.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't know if you've seen the 7th one, but it was.
I saw
good.
half of it. I need to watch the other half.
So I think, well, the Edmonton coaching staff just must have heard you guys because Calvin Pickard is indeed going into the net now after that goal.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought they were just gonna let this game go and just like.
No, I think you get them warmed up a little bit, especially if you're going to.
I think, yeah,
true, yeah.
I think you let Pickard do a mop up job here and just just move on to game 4.
And if he can shut him out through the rest of this, that gives him a little bit of confidence going into the next one, right? And then there's nothing at this point. It's only going to hurt Skinner's confidence anymore. So like, there's no, he's already dead, situation. So,
Exactly.
We gotta sort of move on. Let's talk about some fun news. I guess not really fun news, but a little more lighthearted news. TJ Oshie, I mentioned at the top of the show. Good guy capital. I know that I see Gil. I think is wearing his TJ Oshie as well. I'm wearing my jersey backwards today, so that way we're focusing on the Oshie, not the Weagle, or the Capital logo rather. But just they had an announcement today celebrating 7 years at the Fountain, and a retirement for number 77. What an incredible year! He had been having some back pain. I know that he would love to have been a part of this run this year if he could have, but he's got a lot of little ones, and as somebody who has a bad back and has to constantly pick up little children, I can tell you I understand why he wants to save himself because it's not easy, so good for him. What a great run. There's going to be a movie coming out about the relationship with him and his father coming out this weekend, I believe.
Nice.
I bet you he'll probably do some gigs with Monumental coming up. He did a little bit of a stint on ESPN last week. And so good for TJ. I'll miss him. He's one of my all-time favorite Capitals. I put him in my top 5 favorite Capitals players, and especially of the new era. I put those. He mentioned all of them in his speech, and I think that those are all the guys. Like, you got the Nicholas Backstrom, who's also quote unquote retiring, but it's a little bit different because he's going to go play a year in Sweden. But you got Nick and Ovi and TJ Oshie, and then John Carlson and Tom Wilson as sort of those is the dynamic 5 that's been the through for the Capitals for all these years. And other players have come and go around them, but they've kind of been the cornerstone that has been this very successful time. I know people are like, oh, it only got one championship, whatever, but President's Trophy, lots of excitement, lots of goals, lots of buzz. Changed the entire way that this city thinks about hockey. We're a perennial playoff team, and I know that some people only decide whether a team is successful based on the number of championships that they win, but I think that that's not necessarily the best metric. I think the fans and the how dynamic the fan base has grown says a lot about what TJ has been able to do, and his time with the Blues, and then the Sochi Olympics, right?
Yeah. The legendary shootout.
It's funny because the AP wrote it that way. TJ Oshie, Olympic superstar from Sochi, retires. Which I thought was kind of funny that's the line. That it shows how important that was, that one game, and how it put Team USA kind of gave him a lot of legitimacy. And I couldn't believe that we got him right after that, right? Because I had really liked him a lot, and it's why I got the Stars and Stripes one, because I wanted to always remember
Team USA,
things. And so I'm just so proud of him and so happy, and I know Coach Osh somewhere is looking down and so proud of his son, and I really want to see that movie for sure. But Gil, what are some of your thoughts?
I can't. I've been watching this team for so long. It's hard for me to put a favorite, a head and shoulders favorite above anybody else. Watch so many legendary guys come through the organization. If I would let myself mark a favorite, though, this guy would be it. The Monumental folks keep calling him the heart and soul of the team when he played, and there wasn't any better description. There just wasn't. The 2 years ago when they made their unlikely playoff run, I think maybe not in terms of results, but in terms of intangibles. That was probably his finest season. He literally willed that team into the playoffs by himself. A team that wasn't supposed to be there, wasn't supposed to do anything in the regular season. He carried that team, and even when he wasn't playing, it mattered. Everything he did mattered, and when he was on the ice, it mattered even more. You could tell he was that kind of difference. And that's how I'll always remember him is that even when he doesn't score, he's always going to be that difference maker.
Yeah, Florida's on the power play again after already making it 5-1. It just doesn't.
Something stinks.
This is hard to watch.
I know.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like the clock's going
like giving
so slow. It's like paint dry, right?
Yeah. Just let them have it. They have it. They have game 3. That's fine.
Oh, he's not dead enough? Oh, kill him again. Shoot him again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kill him more.
Ugh.
Right. But I agree with that heart and soul comment. He's a player that plays so much bigger than I feel like he physically is, right? Just his heart makes his body grow twice the size, right? It's just, able to get to pucks that he shouldn't, able to dance around people that he shouldn't able to, and just really works harder than every other person, and I think that's contagious. People see that and want to work hard to match his intensity, and it's going to be a hard thing to try to match. And that's why I hope that they can have him as a special advisor, or some sort of role where they can bring him in as maybe even an assistant coach, or maybe just even someone that works for Monumental that could just be around the team a lot. I would just love an opportunity for him when the time is right. He also has a lot of young kids. I think he deserves some time with them as well, because he definitely, and he said it in his beautiful speech. If anyone gets a chance to go back and watch it, I recorded it because I was at the Mission Impossible movie and listened to it on the way home. And just, he got so choked up, going through it, and you could see how much his family means to him and how much he's had to sacrifice for the team, which he considers the team his brothers, which he was happy to sacrifice for them, and thinks that those are some of the best moments of his life. But he also knows that his children and wife had to sacrifice a lot as well over the last couple of years, and I'm happy that he'll be able to spend some more time with them. So good for him. Adrian, let you have your thoughts on TJ Oshie as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so he was, I remember when you first mentioned ages ago that he was going to join the Capitals. I was excited because I just knew him as the awesome Sochi Team USA shootout wizard, and I was like, oh, cool, we're getting him now. And he definitely brought some electricity to the team that we really wanted. And when we had that championship, and by the way, the whole people dismiss he only won one championship. I'm like, dude, I dare you to say that to a Buffalo fan or something like that,
or any Canadian fan for the last 30 years.
Exactly. It's getting what there's that Doctor Who meme where it's is one a lot? It depends on what what you're talking about. One waffle for breakfast, not that many. One Stanley Cup championship, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay? So I'm his name is on the Stanley Cup. He got to share that moment with his dad. He was the only thing I'd say I wasn't too fond of was when he said back to back at the parade.
Yeah,
and
both
you and I were let's just not get ahead of ourselves. That'd be great, of course. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but we've seen a lot of heartbreak, so let's just focus on what we do have. But he was the guy who started the whole flip your jersey over your head and chug the beer through your jersey and then put your shirt back down. That brought a lot of joy to the celebrations, right? So that was a wonderful thing he did. He and I actually had the privilege and the honor of attending the game. Thank you to some of my other friends, Mr. Kopinski. He got me a ticket to. It was a game last season against the Winnipeg Jets. We won that game 3-0. That was the game where they honored TJ Oshie for celebrating his 1000th career game. And I think I have they were giving out free towels. It was TJ1K on it. It looked pretty cool. I was if I have a spare one, I'll give it to you, Robbie, if I can find it. But yeah, it was just with the Marvel comic book night. I was going around to every seat to see if there was any abandoned any abandoned freebie merch. I love to just hold on to that. So yeah, I was glad to be there and see that ceremony. And I do feel it is going to be a shame to see him go, but yeah, his chronic back pain, that sounds awful. He's already had a very illustrious career, and I just don't know how much
he loves golf so much. He should get to retire and play some golf.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not fair to steal all of it from him. He put in his years of hard work and things that. He told two stories today during his retirement ceremony that I wanted to highlight because I thought they were interesting. One was how sad he felt when he was originally traded, because he felt that he let St. Louis down, and when he left to come to the Capitals. And so I'm so happy that St. Louis ended up winning the year after us, so that way he doesn't have to feel too guilty that he got the championship.
That's true, yeah.
It was interesting that was his initial reaction, but Brian McClellan called him up right away and told him how excited the team was, and how much he was going to mean to the team and stuff like that, and that really always stuck with him. So I thought that was a great story, how he sort of initially was like, "Oh man, I let the team that drafted me down," but the reality is that they gave him an opportunity to come to the Capitals, and it's somebody that we really wanted to have on our team. And the other story was when he was just after they lost to the Penguins, he was up for a contract renewal, and it was the first time he was going to be a free agent ever in his career. Like, they had always signed him before that had happened. And he was so committed to what they were doing. He felt that it was building. He felt like they were just right on that doorstep to the championship, and they hadn't won it yet. They had lost to Pittsburgh. I think it was the second year, right, in a row. And they were like, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" And he wrote on the back of a paper napkin, I, TJ Oshie, was signing a contract extension and put it for blank dollars and blank amount of years, and signed it and handed it to the GM during their breakdown meeting. And just as a sign of good faith that, like, no matter what the number is, a number of years, I'm in. And I thought that, what a cool statement, because it really truly ruins your bargaining position in a contract negotiation doing that. But they still took care of him, right? Because that meant a lot to them, that they were like, man, this guy, even after we just lost, and has an opportunity for the first time in his career really to see how much he's truly worth, would honestly take a hit to stay with a team. Because that's what that's saying right there. I'm happy that they didn't give him too much of a contract. They gave him a contract he deserves.
They don't rip him off.
Yeah, they don't rip him off. But
give him a good deal. He's doing a lot for us. Yeah,
yeah, $1 million for 10 years for $1 million each. No. I thought that was a really good sign of faith both ways, and really kind of spoke volumes of both the institution, but of him as a man. And I thought those were two really interesting stories that were told today during the thing. But it was a really good thing, and it was great to see Joe and Locker get to interview him and be a part of the ceremony as well. Gil, were you able to see any of?
I saw the whole thing. I didn't think to DVR it. I should have. But yeah, I saw the entire entire ceremony start to finish, and it's just so like him when he was making his speech. He was making his side comments and just flat out admitting that wow, this is really a lot harder to get through, but he used his sense of humor, his personality to kind of give it a lighthearted spin and just say, okay, folks, I know this is sad, but it isn't really. It is a happy ending, and so just bear with me, while I tell my story that you guys are a part of, and that's another thing I always remember him. He was probably the one player above all that made sure to always involve the fans in some way. So it was just it was a terrific ceremony. It really was. It was kind of hard to watch at times, him tear up, but he got through it like a champ.
Yeah, I got emotional too. By the way, there's a line brawl going on right now.
Yeah, I saw that. Just as you were describing his two beautiful stories in 180-degree contrast, there's this horrible line brawl with all five guys going at each other.
Good.
And Darnell Nurse came out of it with a bit of a fat lip, but he gave it a pretty good go. Trent Frederick went after Sam Bennett.
Good.
It's terrible. Yeah. Bennett's kind of slinking away like the coward that he is. He waited till Frederick lost an edge, and then he started punching him.
How's there still 10 minutes left in this hockey game? This
I don't know.
The longest period I've ever seen, and I've witnessed a lot of hockey in my life. That literally, it's taken like 45 minutes to get through 10 minutes of a period. Yeah. But anyway, because it started at 10 o'clock. We started this segment with pretty much the start of that. Anyway, Yeah, I just thought you're right. He was getting so emotional. I love that he was kind of joking his way through it a little bit to try to, get himself through it because you knew that he was choking up, which was getting to me as well, just because he's just such a good guy. And it's just, it's such a bittersweet moment because, I'm happy that we get to celebrate him one more time. But it's just going to be tough that he's such a hole that you just can't really replace in that same sort of way. He'll be a legend forever.
Oh
But
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so honored that we had him and he was there for the
we
Capitals'
do
great
not win
moment.
that cup without him.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
No,
sure of
no.
it.
and I loved how he represented Team USA. He was on St. Louis, and then he came to the Capitals, won the cup for the Capitals, and I remember at the ceremony, after the parade, Barry Trotz, he mentioned how what was cool about the Capitals as a team is that they don't just reflect hockey in DC, but also like how DC is like it's like a very world class like international city, and you have people from all over the world living there, and you have people from all over the world on the Capitals. And he was saying how you have like Russians and Canadians. It was even an Australia guy, right? Right, Nathan Walker.
Yep.
And you have Americans. And I remember it was John Carlson, I believe Chandler Stevenson, and T.J. Oshie, of course, the good old American guy on the team. I felt like that was a great way to have the USA represented in the team of the capital city of the nation. That says a lot. I think he's going to be sorely missed, but I understand why he had to retire, and he deserves to spend time with his family to go play golf. It was fun seeing him as a correspondent, like a guest host, a couple of games ago. I think it was on it was either on ESPN. Yeah, I think it was on ESPN. So like if he did that, I know that like DSP, he's been on the post game live with like Alan May and Alexa Landestoy a couple times. So I'd like to see him in that kind of role as well. So like, still enjoy retirement, but still be a part of the team and still have the contribution that he had to this team and the city and Capitals fans. Just like live on it in a new way. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think he'd be really good at. I love smoking Al Koken, but he's not going to do this forever. I think he would be a great between the ice kind of like, interviewing people. He's such a jovial, friendly
Yeah.
guy. I think he could do a really good job of a role like that if he ever
Yeah,
wanted
I
to.
agree. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love to see
Yeah,
him do that.
yeah. So that's where I think would be like a really cool gig for him because then I feel like he'd be even closer to the team in some ways, being, one of those reporters and
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
um,
and he's got the credibility to back it up. You don't just have a former Capital correspondent. You got a Stanley Cup champion.
right.
Like whenever
But also
people dunk on,
the
yeah,
charisma, I just feel like you need to
exactly. Yeah,
have that
he's
sort
got a
of,
good sense of humor. He knows how to talk. Like he was great having banter with PK Subban when he was that guest host.
yeah.
I feel like whenever people dunk on Tom Wilson on the hockey community online, I like it when the Caps fans like correct them like oh, Tom Wilson's this, Tom Wilson's that. It's like, excuse you, it's Stanley Cup champion Tom Wilson. Get your facts straight. So it's like it's the same thing with TJ Oshie, right? And I'm glad that his name is etched on the cup. Along
After
with
all of that,
yeah.
Florida got a power play again, Gil.
Yep. That
Is
they
it
did.
because some of the bench players are starting to punch people from the bench? I don't know.
I didn't even see what the call was, but spoiler alert: the Oilers did kill it off.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
good.
Oh, I'm way behind. Far back am I? Oh, wow. Okay, at some point my DVR got rewound, so that's part of the problem. Anyway, all right. Yes, I can see why I was really far behind Gil.
If it makes you feel any better, I had to watch the game on Max, and like several times I get like a chime on my phone from like my cousins or some friends who know I'm an Oilers fan, and I'm like, oh no, like I don't want to look at my phone because like they have probably seen what happened before I did. Sometimes it's a huge relief, but game two was not such a it was a dreadful moment for me. So, yeah.
I can't believe that Marchand. I mean, he's playing at such an elite level right now, because he doesn't have to. Um, uh,
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to carry the team anymore, and so that for us, for our Capitals, I'd like to see. I'm probably going to start a big argument here among some fans, but I'd like to see him take Ovechkin take a secondary role with the team in his last year. You know, you know, he doesn't. He shouldn't be in a position to have to carry the team offensively anymore. But he did, and he is. But the man is going to be 40 years old. Going to turn 40 in about 2-3 months.
September 17th.
He's, this is most likely going to be his last year with the Capitals in the NHL. Do we really expect him to score 40, 50 goals again? Do we really need him to do that? If we do,
I want him to get to 1,000.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
look, I'm not going to mind, but I mean, it's time. It's really, really time they start thinking about replacing what they're going to lose when he does step away.
Yeah.
That's my concern, and I think not unlike Marchand, he's going to thrive in a secondary role. I think, and it would make him a lot fresher for a playoff run, as you're seeing here.
I just, knowing Ovi's mentality, I don't know if he could do it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing about him. He would not let himself.
Yeah, his thought is, I'm either going to be the best player on the ice or I'm not doing this anymore. I just don't see an in between. I don't disagree with what you're saying. Try not to get yourself too overextended and get yourself one final run, and that makes a lot of sense. I just don't see him. Maybe he won't be so pressured if once he hits 900 and he doesn't need to hit any numbers because he's probably too far away from 1,000, right? So, but
it'll be like the list of NHL players with 900 goals or more, and it's just Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the list. Yeah.
And I think that will be the list. There's only very few people I could see taking, getting in 900, and maybe McDavid, but
yeah, maybe McDavid, maybe Matthews if he gets.
They have to be healthy for another decade.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is the longevity thing? It's like Ovi was scoring 67, 60 something goals, early on, but he's not. I mean, I guess I can't say.
They say every record's meant to be broken, and nobody thought, in a gajillion years that this record would be broken, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah, it's true. It's
yeah, especially since like Gretzky himself said that back in his day, goalie pads were half the size but twice the weight as they are today. So like if Ovechkin was back in Gretzky's day, he would have probably even gotten way more. So it's like it's a lot harder to be a top tier goal scorer today than it was back in Gretzky's day. So the fact that he's already broken the record and he's not retired yet is absolutely remarkable. So yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see him get to 1,000. Come on, just
just a little. But I still stand by the fact that if he scores 30 goals next year, I don't know how he decides not to sign a one more year deal. Right? It'd be interesting. We'll see. I might be wrong, but
yeah, we'll be
you don't think he's going to score more than 20 this year, right? So I think that surprised even him. I really honestly don't think he thought he was going to do it this year, and he thought it was going to be like he needed to set himself up to have success next year.
Because he missed like a couple of months with that injury, right? So
right,
yeah,
and he's missed time with the lockouts and with the COVID and all sorts of different situations. So like he should have played in theory 2.5 more seasons. But it is what it is. It's still amazing that he's probably going to hit. What is this? I love this. One Edmonton Oilers guy is holding another guy back so that he can just get punched by a different guy. So
yeah.
This is
bring out the ugly.
It's getting out. Yeah, getting a little out of control. You had Evander Kane. I think he's an apprentice dentist now. Did a little stick work on Carter Verhaeghe a little while ago. Maybe noticed a cavity he had, wanted to pull his tooth or something. But yeah, it's
It's a brutal game. There's still 5 minutes left in it, and I swear we've been at this for almost an hour now.
It is deteriorating very quickly.
Yeah. I'm just already dismissing this and just waiting for game 4.
Yeah.
I think I could like Sam Bennett if he plays for a team that I actually like, because I like to think of Milan Lucic when he played for the Boston Bruins. I was like, oh boo, you suck, Lucic, and then he went to the Oilers. Wait, he's on the Oilers? Like, yeah, I love Milan Lucic, yeah. And then he went to the Flames. I'm like, wait, he's on the Flames? Boo, Milan Lucic, you suck again. So it's like, it just depends on who they play for. Like, everybody hates Tom Wilson unless you're a Capitals fan, but I think he's great because I love him on the Capitals, and I'd love to see him fight against Sam Bennett and other enforcers that want to be like Tom Wilson, but they aren't Tom Wilson. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I do love me some Tom Wilson.
Yes.
All right. I do want to mention just real quickly the score in the NBA Finals, just because I can get that in there. It was a interesting first game. I'm just pulling up the stats right here. But the Pacers versus the Thunder. The first game, the Pacers were able to win 111 to 110 on a crazy Halliburton game winner with 0.3 seconds left. It kind of stunned the Thunder in their home arena. That was the Thursday game, and then on Sunday the Thunder came back and dominated. SGA scored a lot, and then they won that one 123 to 107 to tie the series. And the next game in that series is going to be on Wednesday, and then Friday, and then next Monday, if there is the Defenders win their game, we'll do a watch along of the basketball playoffs, and that would be a game 5, potentially an important game in that series as well, which we already know that game 5 is happening because it's 1-1. So at least that one's not to be determined anymore, and would be an 8:30 start time right before we would start our podcast. But with that, everyone should go follow Adrian for sure. Ace Caltor. And he's got a brand new setup. It looks really cool. And we're going to keep on working on it and add some cool new features and doodads and lots of OBS stuff. There it is over there. I love his new setup, and you can definitely catch him. They were streaming Fortnite this earlier today, but also have streamed doing other games in addition to that. You did some classic gaming, right, as well?
Yes, I did Super Mario Brothers 3 the other day, and I was trying to see how quickly I could beat it. And I only died twice, and I want to do other stuff. Fortnite is fun, but compared to like some of the all-time greats, I am far from being an expert at it. So I just enjoy it a lot. But so that's why I'm like, okay, here, I'll show you a game I'm good at. 35-year-old masterpiece. From back in the day, yeah. So I'll keep showing that off too. So yeah, I appreciate you stopping by earlier today, Robbie. That was very kind of you, and
of course.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And so the link is in chat. Ace Caltor 314 on Twitch. If you want to check that out. So Gil is on hiatus from the Power Play Point podcast, but when the Caps are back and there's more news to be had, you'll definitely catch the stylings of him and Anna Knox over there. And so it does a great job. And I appreciate both of you for talking hockey with me all season long. And oh my God, Floyd's on a 2-man advantage now. Anyway, every time I look up, it just gets worse.
Make it stop.
Looking up.
I can't. I turned off the game so I didn't have to watch it now. Like,
it's like playing a record, or I'm dating myself. Playing an MP3 that's nothing but fingers on a chalkboard for an hour straight. Yeah, make it stop. Yeah. But geez, there's 4 minutes left in this game
That's wild.
from what I'm watching. Oh,
Game 4, baby. Game 4.
Yeah, already looking forward. And yeah, I'm gonna shut up now because something bad, very bad just happened.
Oh no, I think I'm about to see it.
If you're an Oilers fan.
Yeah.
Oh no. That bad, huh?
Not an injury.
Oh.
Not an injury bad, just more bad than that's already happened.
More goals being scored. All right, we're at the 6-1 now. Anywho, I do appreciate Champ for being with us earlier and Seth for being with us earlier, and it's been fun to have Adrian and Gil talk about this and other sports and celebrate TJ Oshie as well. And but hopefully there'll be a big comeback in this series for you, Adrian. I will root for that, and yeah, definitely check out Champ with the True No Spots podcast as well. And I think that is going to do it for this week. I think I'm not going to raid today. We'll probably just end the stream. But I really appreciate everyone for tuning in and being a part of this bonus stream. And hopefully the Defenders win, and we get another bonus stream coming up. And I really appreciate all the people that were lurking and watching on Twitch. We have a bunch of people watching tonight, so I appreciate that as well. And with that, I think we will wrap it up. I'll let Gil, any final thoughts that you have before we end it?
Silver lining for Adrian. Draisaitl, they just cut to a shot of him on the bench, and he's got that look on his face that he had last series. So if there's a silver lining, there's that, because we all know what happened after that in the last series, or was it the series before that, the division final, where him and McDavid exchanged a quick glance as if to say, okay, enough of this bull crap.
Yeah,
we're carrying this series, and we're going to end it right here.
Yeah,
he had the same look on his face.
It's interesting. Last week we were talking about this, and I kind of feel it's true that if any team goes up too big, I think Ryan was saying that it might end up hurting them.
Yep. I remember. I agree with him because it's happened before.
Right, and this could be that game. So let's hope that gets the wake-up call, and we can go 2-2 back to Edmonton, and hopefully then we can have you guys back next week for a bonus episode.
Yeah,
get that long. So
Robbie and Gil are right. Robbie and Gil are right. They are right. they are so right, guys.
There you go. That's good. Well, thank you, Gil. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and being a part of this. If this is the last one of the season, thank you to that. Also, on my channel, you can catch some VODs. We got the Switch 2. We got to surprise Zach with that. He is in love with the new Mario Kart game. Adrian, I got to play against Benson. I beat him in one of the 3 races, which is, anyone knows how good the Benson is in Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
Feat. I haven't beaten him in like 10 years in any Mario Kart. So,
who are you? Were you the cow? Were you Waluigi?
I was Waluigi. He was the cow. So he and Liz both played as cows, and Zach played as a Donkey Kong in a costume. So we had a good time playing 4-player, which is part of why we got delayed on the start of the stream. But anyway, because they weren't going to bed because they were so amped about playing the new ones. But Mario Kart World is worth it. The Switch 2 is awesome. I know it's very expensive, probably overpriced, but we have a lot of fun with it, and it does upgrade all of your old games to like faster and better graphics. And so I was actually playing Mortal Kombat 11 last night after everyone went to bed because no one can look at that game because it was pretty gory. But like it actually ran like it was always supposed to, instead of this choppy fighting game where they're doing this. And so it was actually a lot of fun. So the fact that it basically upgrades every game I already have was exciting. And I'm really excited for the Donkey Kong game to come out. We're trying to get that for his birthday, and I wanted to make sure we had a system to play the game on. So we ended up getting it. But there might be more pop-up streams with the Switch 2. I had a lot of fun doing that with him. And So stay tuned for that. You can always catch the VOD if you miss. I let him, for graduating first grade without having a single complaint from the teachers the whole season, or the whole.
Nice.
I let him be able to be the Twitch streamer, and I set it up, and he could be the streamer. So there you go. So he got to basically control the stream, and we got to race against each other live on stream, and so we had a good time with that. And fun to be able to share those Mario memories, right? And but that free roam world, Adrian, is what made me think about it, because you can jump off of walls now and do like crazy tricks off of things, and so
Nice.
it kind of reminds me of like when Super Mario Brothers 3 and the other future games, like they took it to that next level. And so I actually have the Mario.
Nice.
But yeah, so I love it. By the way, all the Switch peripherals all work with it, and all the games work with it, and backwards. So if you put a Switch 2 game in a Switch, it'll play it as if it's a Switch 1 game, which I was kind of impressed by.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's actually pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's the only system I've ever known to be like compatible that direction, so like good on Nintendo. I know that they've got a lot of people really upset with them with like no one owns the rights to games anymore, but like look at if you have Steam, for example, you don't own the rights to anything anymore. So like they're just doing what everyone else is doing, but I feel like Nintendo often gets a lot of crap for it. But they sold 3 million copies or 3 million consoles in 24 hours, so they're clearly not complaining.
And I plan on making it 3 million in one.
Yeah. So, anyway, with that is the end of the game and more fisticuffs. And the rats go on the ice, which I still think is as stupid as ever. So I guess it makes more sense now with having Marchand on your team than it ever did.
Oh, shade thrown. Shade thrown.
Exactly. They should just throw Marchand on the ice. There you go. Anyway, Sarnaga says, no one owns rights to games. Say that to the generation that started piracy. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is like, and I like how they said that they made it like, mod proof and it's gonna like brick itself. And I'm like, I have no interest in doing any of those things to the console. Like, people are complaining about things that will never apply to me, right? Like, it's a lot of fun. My son and I had a great time. Like, that's the part that really matters.
Yeah, you enjoy it. Your son and your family enjoys it. That's the best.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so shout out to Switch too. You sponsor me. Anyway, but Spartacus, it's good to see you. Not that you know anything about pirating games for sure. All right, with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned. Put the bell on. Let people know. I might do pop-ups if Zach does a good job with the summer camp program. I may have him do another game stream. So use that as an incentive. So stay tuned to the channel. Hopefully Defenders win this Saturday, and then we'll do another podcast next week. So stay tuned to that as well. Thank you again, everybody, for being a part of it. And I'm going to end the stream there, but we will talk to you all soon. Thank you again, everyone, for being a part of it.